artist.
Oh, so you have to keep making the accounts for the free trials. I've been there. Yes. Um, cool. So thanks for doing this. This is like the highlight of my day.
Oh my god, no problem. I'm really self-conscious because I haven't like seen a human in days.
No, me either. Okay, my dog's right there. I lost it on my class earlier. I was just like losing my cool. I was like, you guys, this is the third time that we're doing the same lesson and none of you have done it. And I was just like, ah! Like,
Oh my god.
even online, they drive me crazy. But so this is nice.
Online now? Like school's online?
Well, it's always been online. So I've always taught online. So yeah, to be honest, I'm looking for a different job because there's so much cheating because it's all online, so they can all cheat.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they all cheat like crazy, and like all day I just grade and nail kids for plagiarism like all day. But anyways, um, so it's great. I can still work through all of this. Also, I've been getting this obviously isn't part of the interview. The young people's meeting are going crazy. Are you a member of a meeting at all?
No. Just the Good Morning Portsmouth, but I haven't been.
Oh my god.
Insane.
I am getting like so many updates on like, should we cancel it? Should we not cancel it? And they're like freaking out. Anyways,
What's the consensus? Is there not a consensus?
there's not a consensus at all. So I'm on the side that's saying, well, I'm not really actually saying anything. So there's an option to have it online. We have an online meeting, but there's also they want to have it in person as well. And that's what they're arguing about is should that be an option? And the people who are like free country type deal and everyone else is like pandemic. But yeah.
Was that part of this conversation?
They didn't say it. They didn't say it, but that's the vibe I'm getting. Do you know what I mean? Like we should have a choice. It's good for the newcomer, and I'm like, this is a little beyond that right now. But anyways,
yeah,
it's like tearing the whole group apart.
I can't deal with like Good Morning Portsmouth because they're all fucking old, and it's like the same thing. But I'm like, you guys are literally the ones at risk. Like,
yeah,
please go the fuck home.
Yeah.
And I will not be making coffee for you because I don't know. Anyway, it's like it's not fun, but what the fuck? Like,
we think we're immune to this, like it doesn't. None of these statements count towards Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, no, that also applies. Like, you're not exempt from like I don't know. Anyways,
plague.
It's just hilarious. They're arguing so bad.
I should have put on like a nicer shirt for this, but
no, you're good. No, you're fine. I just got out of the shower. Okay, so I'm excited. I'm glad we're finally doing this. And if you could, you have a website, right?
I do.
Okay, so I can show them your website. I can show them your website, right? There's nothing like crazy on there. What?
Do I like pull it up and then it shows me?
No. In class, I can just put it out there like, hey, if you want after, check out our website.
Okay.
To know that I'm not just making this up. And no, I'm kidding. And because they love that. They love looking at the people's websites after. So yeah, I'll do that. And then if you have any, like, I know your Facebook has some images in your website, but anything I could show them since we aren't able to do this in person of your actual art, like the Oomph Salon mural is on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how to so all that stuff's on my website. I have a drop down menu that's like illustrations, and then sometimes I do painted faces, and then I have murals, and then I have like all the different stuff I do. But yeah, I can show. I mean, I don't know how to use this though. So are you just gonna show them this stuff?
Oh yeah, I was thinking if you could just film it with your cell phone and send it to me separately,
Oh,
I could
okay.
I could mesh these together. Does that work? Yeah. Okay. Um. Oh my god, I gotta turn my phone off. So yeah. So who are you? What do you do for a living? And we'll start with that. What's it like?
Okay. Hi, I'm Natalie Miller. I'm a visual artist, I guess is what I'm calling myself now. Which is an umbrella term for an illustrator, a painter, a muralist, sometimes a sculptor. I don't know, whatever I want, I guess.
A visual artist. Is that what you said?
I don't know,
Multimedium.
multimedia artist, I guess.
Cool.
So that's who I am. I still have kind of a weird time just saying artist, but I guess that's a real job, so that's not.
It's what you do. You make art.
Yeah, I don't know.
You get paid to make art.
I really thought that that's not real, but it is real, so that's what I am. So yeah, and I've been self-employed for 3 years.
Nice.
Um,
Were you self-employed before that doing art? Or, I mean, were you employed by someone else doing art before that, or were you doing some other kind of work?
no, I've never been employed by anyone for doing art, which is
Right. You don't really find that.
part of my story, I guess. So I went to art school when I graduated high school. I stayed there for 2 years. I hated it. This was a long time ago. So this is in the early 2000s. So social media was like barely a thing, and basically they taught us there that like enjoy it while you can, because only a couple of you will actually make it in this world, and like it'll be a miracle if you become anything out of it. So
oh my gosh.
I was like, I'm gonna leave. This sucks. And so that is kind of how it was. I mean, it was all kind of like just a crapshoot. Like it was like being a model or something. Like you get discovered,
like a famous person.
So it was kind of just disheartening. And then like over the next couple years, social media became a thing, and that was pretty cool. But it didn't really even like work out in favor of artists and like influencers and like this like self-promotional thing until I don't know, like probably until Instagram came around, I guess. So like 2000, whatever that was, 12, 10 or something like that. So for like that, for all the 2000s, I just was like a bartender, and I didn't really even make anything because I was just like, what's the point? And my life was crazy. I didn't really have time to like focus on making art. So then I kind of settled down in around.
I like how you laugh at that.
I settled down. I calmed down a little bit, and then I just kind of got to once I like didn't have all this craziness in my life, I was like, what am I gonna do now? And also, I hated bartending at that point because I wasn't really part of that scene anymore. So it just seemed like the natural thing to do was to just like start doing art again. Yeah. So I just did, and then by that time, this was in 2016. So by that time, like the whole I don't know. So between like 2004 and 2016, I basically hadn't used the internet for anything besides like posting party pictures of myself.
Right.
And so all of a sudden I'm like making art again, and it's like there's this whole different attitude about it where it's like you can be whatever you want to be as long as you do it for yourself.
Right.
So I was like, oh, so that's not really what I was taught in art school. So I just started painting constantly and like making up for lost time. And I just like could not stop painting and drawing, and I just was like posting them all over Instagram because I was like, I guess this is what we're supposed to do now. Like this is how you like anything you do in life, you post about it, I guess. So, and then like 2 months after my first like art post, I got an email from a girl, and she asked me to illustrate an oracle deck, and I was like, "This is crazy." Because I was really bad. I was like really bad, out of practice, and like my art was really bad. I mean, it wasn't up to my standards. I'll say that. And I was like, "This is crazy that this person wants to hire me." So we started working together, and then it just kind of took off from there. And then she was really motivated. She's a writer, so she was really motivated, and she sent in all the work to a publisher. They signed us. The bar I worked at got shut down, and everything kind of like fell apart, and then like blew up on the other side of my life at the same time. And I was like really scared, and I didn't have any money to like change a career, especially into art, because that's like totally not very reliable. But I didn't really feel like, I was like, I don't know what else I can possibly do. Like, I knew that like art was going to come back into my life at some point. I always known that. Like, I don't think I was meant to be a bartender. And so I was like, well, I got to do this, or it's going to like come back some other way, and I'm just going to struggle until I figure it out. So I was just like, whatever. So I moved home, and I'm back to New Hampshire. I was living in Chicago, and I just continued to kind of like sell prints and like do the like really like, I don't know, kind of like trying to break into the scene thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I struggled financially a lot because obviously art doesn't pay very well, and we don't think we're worth much money typically, which was something that I just learned recently to overcome. So even if you're making a lot of artwork, for me, you're not really making any money because you're not charging appropriately, which is like this artist mentality that we always have, that we're like either like starving artists forever, or because we're having fun, we don't deserve to get paid for it. Which
right. Yeah. And you got to find the audience that's willing to value your work like it should be. You know what I mean? Like, so many people trying to lowball you, I bet. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all the time. For years. And I was like, well, you know, and also, like, wanting to be nice and, like, wanting everybody to, like, make it available for everyone. And that's cool, too. But then after a while, it really starts to just, like, wear on you. Because it's exhausting. Like, it's obviously, I love doing art. It's, like, all I do all day long.
Right, it's a passion.
But it's also exhausting. It's, like, such a part of you. Like, it's not just, like, clocking in and doing whatever.
Right.
Other jobs are really exhausting, too. But it's exhausting in a different way. And after a couple of years of, like, giving that away, you get so tired and you're so broke. And you're just like, I'm either going to not do this and be miserable, or I'm going to charge more and hope for the best. So I did the second thing.
Yep.
And then it took a lot of like pep talks for like years of people being like, you are being dumb, you're underselling yourself, whatever. And it sinks in when it sinks in. I don't even know like, how to.
It takes what it takes.
Yeah. So then now at this point, like, I don't even know what else I would do. Like, if I were to go back into like the market, I would have like a 3-year gap on my resume. My skills are, I don't even know what I have anymore. And I'm just like, I have to be an artist. This is my job now. So I have to make it work. And I love it, and it's super fun.
Yeah, and you love it. Don't leave that out.
But, like,
and you're super good at it.
I feel like it's weird to like balance something that you really love and are passionate about.
Yeah.
But also like a hobby.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird world, but yeah. So I'm still kind of like, can I just say I'm an artist? Do I have to say I'm an illustrator? Because that sounds like more legit or something. But I'm an artist. That's my job. Yeah,
an illustrator is part of that. What was I going to ask? So did you finish art school, or were you done after that?
No, I couldn't do it. I was also like, usually when I start talking about this, I start trashing on art school, so I'll try not to do that. I think there is like a lot to be learned there, like technique-wise, and I definitely wasn't I think I was too young and like wild to take it seriously. But Yeah, I went to an art school that was like had like a prestigious name, but it wasn't like a really great program.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that went there had been going to art school for their whole lives. Like they'd been on like art elementary school, and it was just like they were so ahead of me, and I was just this like notebook doodler from a random high school in New Hampshire. So I got there and I was really intimidated. And I just felt really out of place, and I felt like I was paying a ton of money for something that they basically told me wasn't really going to be worth it. And so we also didn't have any academic classes. It was just studio. So I'm just like, it was just like paying a lot of money to just like hang out in Boston and paint all day. And I was like, I can't really do this. So I left after 2 years, and then I just started bartending. But if I could go back now, I would definitely take a lot more art classes, art history, art theory, like color theory. I don't even really, if you're already going to art school, you're probably already like practicing on your own time anyway. So I would treat it more like real college.
Right.
Like,
interesting.
Mine.
Yeah, I know that's good for them to hear. I know there's a big art school in Portland. So these kids are all in Maine. So if they'd be looking at like Mecca or whatnot, you know.
Oh, Mecca's cool. That's like, so Mecca was like my second choice.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be in a big city, and Portland wasn't big enough.
yeah.
So we redo that, like, who knows? But I actually think that Mecca is probably a better school.
Yeah.
And they have like, it seems like they're more organized, and they have a lot of like a really good academic art program as well as studio. So I wish I had gone to Mecca. So if that's like an option, then go to Mecca.
Do your research. Do your research on the schools and the programs, and maybe like what alumni have to say somehow. You know, that would be. Yeah. You paid a lot. Like that's free advice that you paid a lot of money to learn that these kids are getting. So, and so many of us have had to go through like figuring out. But yeah, no, that's good, because especially with a job that entry level isn't making you a lot, like you said, or because of your pricing, you want to keep the costs down. It doesn't work probably because they have to pay for that huge college education that's gaining interest every year and make little to nothing, you know, like the cost of art school versus the like income that you get coming out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy. And there's so many different like art avenues you can go down. Way more than there were when I was in school. So like I remember when I went to school, it was like, if you ever want to make money doing this, go into graphic design. Like graphic design is like the one thing you could do. And that is like a whole like completely different like microcosm of itself now since then. Or like I don't even know the terms. You can do like web design wasn't like a thing, but like you can do all different kinds. There's so many different things you can do now. But you can also just be a painter and like be really frustrated, and I don't know. It's a lot of. There's so many different ways you could do it, and it's probably very beneficial to have a bunch of them under your belt.
Yeah.
Because like now I'm having to teach myself how to do like digital stuff, and I feel like an old lady because I'm like my like 8-year-old nephew is like showing me how to use programs that I use to make professional artwork, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They all feed each other, but like, you know, I think it's good to go to like a multifaceted school, I guess. I don't know. I don't really feel like I have like the...
And to continue to keep up with the changing technology that's really changing the field of art, it sounds like. Yeah. That's good advice for them too. So what kind of work have you done? Like what kind of clients do you take on? What's your focus? Do you have a certain like style that you like, or how would you even begin to explain that?
Yeah.
Molly. Sorry, my dog.
At this point, I kind of have narrowed things down. I do a lot of stuff for bands, like in festivals and stuff. So I do a lot
Ooh,
of design. That's really fun for me. I like designing, but I don't love designing. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a graphic designer because I'm not great at making other people's ideas come to life. Um, so something I struggle with as an artist.
right.
I like to do my own thing always. Like, I really am not good at like listening to what a client wants and giving them what they want. And it was like a long road to get here, to be able to kind of um, say like that's who I am and that's how I work. Because for a while I had to just do what other people wanted, and that kind of sucked, to be honest.
Yep.
But some people are really good at that. I have friends that are like, they do commissions all day long and they're amazing. Like, if somebody asks me to do a commission, it will take me months because I'm just like, I hate this. I have to really care about what I'm doing to make it good. So now, if something isn't really up my alley, I don't really take it on as a project anymore because it's not like they can get something better from somebody else that doesn't need to work the way that I do. But so I work with musicians because music's really important to me. It's really important to my process. I do a lot of the tarot cards and the oracle cards is like not completely my world, but like I can attach to that in my own way because I can like kind of draw how my spirituality like comes through. I guess I don't know how to.
So even though you aren't directly connected to it, you still can find like a connection somewhere in your spiritual.
Like,
yeah.
I'm very fortunate in my situation. My creative partner in that project will just like give me her writing and just ask me to read it and then draw whatever I want. So
beautiful, yeah.
That's where I really thrive is when I can just do whatever I want.
And it came out great.
So I like clients that treat me that way and want that from me. So yeah, like I said, it took me a couple years to get to the point where I could have people trust that if you just like let me do what I want, it's going to be better than if you tell me what to do. But I'm kind of coming around that bed now. So like I do murals are a big part of my income actually. So the one I did at Oomph was a friend of mine, Tanya, hired me, and she was like, "This is what I want." She said, "I want it to be kind of tropical and kind of glamorous." And sort of like 70s. And I was like, perfect. That's about as much like direction as I can handle. And so other than that, she gave me like a month and I just designed like a few different options and she chose one and then I went for it. And that's how I have to work now.
Nice.
Like I can't like do a portrait of people that are getting married. Like it's just.
So is that what you used to do, Natalie? You say you can't do it anymore. Is that because like?
Yeah, I had to do like anything that came my way for
right.
a while. It's cool because it gives you practice, but I don't know. Like I'm just not. I've done a lot of like wedding presents, portraits of people that I don't know, which is really hard for me too. Because if I can't like draw someone if I don't like know them personally and have like a connection with them, I'm like I don't know how to draw the spirit in your eyes if I don't know who you are. So there's people that are really good at that. Go to that. But yeah, so it's just like I had to do a lot of stuff that I just did not want to do. And my styles evolved a lot. It used to be really dark. Now it's really kind of like retro-y.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of my influence comes from my childhood and like the era that I grew up in. So yeah, I have to kind of stick. I think it's really important to like figure out your artistic voice and stick with that because when people come to me and they ask for something like, let me see, like what's like an era, like something I really just don't care about, like a picture of can you do a portrait of a guy and his dog from like the 1930s? Like I have no connection to any of that. And I can't draw it, but I can draw that in like my style, which is gonna basically come out looking like something from the 80s because that's just who I am. But yeah, having a strong artistic voice gives you a lot more leeway and a lot more control over who comes to you, and people tend to trust you more. So if you could like don't try to. My advice, I guess, would be like, don't try to be for everyone. Be like really good at one little thing, and those people will find you. And those people that really want that one thing are usually willing to pay you a lot of money for that one thing.
Interesting.
That's my TED talk.
Yeah. So where are you seeing kind of like trends going towards? Do you get more clients looking for murals? Do you get more clients looking for prints, for t-shirts or signs? Like what kind of is your most popular product or service, I guess?
Yeah. Right now, I would say murals are having a definite moment because everybody wants to take a picture in front of a mural and have
True.
for their Instagram, and businesses know that. So it's like that's like a mural is like advertising that will like it's like an investment people are willing to put a lot of money into typically because you know every time someone like takes a picture in front of that then they tag it then they're like it's just like this crazy spiral of
free advertising after that one payment for the mural. Yeah.
That is really like I'm very lucky that murals are really cool right now, and they're also like a lot different than they used to be. Like murals aren't really. I don't think people are doing murals that are like super realistic scenes.
Yeah.
They're more like art backgrounds, which is cool, and it gives the artist a lot more leeway to kind of express themselves. So that's cool. So I'm having a lot of fun with murals, and that is 100%, or not 100%, probably like 90% of my income right now.
Wow, nice. That's fun too, I bet.
Yeah. Also, yeah, people always want clothes. People always want to look cool. And that's like something that's it doesn't make a ton of money, but like I sell shirts all the time. People always want prints for the same reason. Like I think like interiors and like it's just everything relies on social media right now.
Oh yeah.
People love to have like a
what's
gallery
trending
wall of art in their house and then take a picture of it and post it. So it's like art is kind of like this weird collectible currency right now. So I sell a lot of prints, do a lot of murals. Everything else is kind of just like sometimes I'll do like a commission or someone will buy like an original painting, but usually it's like reproductions of stuff, and I'll just draw all day long and just sell it. And they're pretty like fairly easy to make. So, and people get really excited about having like a limited edition. So if you only do like 20, then they have this like I don't know. It's like it's weird that like
we were talking about fads and last class and how something running out almost makes people want it more. And like we were looking at a toy in particular around Christmas time and like parents were like fighting each other to buy this specific toy we were looking at and like and it's true like when things are rare. We also talked about like the brand Supreme and how like they work on just like limited edition constantly, like just putting out limited editions and what that does. This is super cool, not just for the artists but for everyone in class. And the social media aspect is huge and trending, and I definitely noticed that. And then what was I gonna say? I think as an artist, anyone in a field, like you have to, as an entrepreneur especially, know what is trending. You know what I mean? Like stay in touch with what's trending because that's where people are gonna spend their money. And yeah, I think it's crazy in your story to watch how not just the internet but like social media has really like shaped your journey through the art industry. And most of these kids who will see it at least this year were born in like 2008 or 2006 or something. I don't know. Somewhere around there. I might be totally off. They were born after 9/11, which blows my mind. But yeah, so that's really interesting because they a lot of the time just think we always had this, you know, or it was always like this.
That's so wild to me, and it's so funny too because like sometimes I'm doing this project right now that's it's very like retro, but it's not in a Like I never thought I'd be having this conversation. It's like because that's what I remember personally. It's not like, oh, I'm doing it because it's trendy. It's because it's like that just is like where my brain goes because that's what I grew up in. And I'm like, I can't believe this. I'm doing this because it's like my own memories, but they're actually this is like what's cool to people that are like half my age, and I think that's so weird.
Oh, really? Is that what you're noticing? Kind of retro?
Oh yeah, like people are like, oh my god, I love it. It's so 80s, so like early 80s, and like
I noticed that too. I noticed like early 90s grunge wear is coming back with the teenagers too.
yeah, so crazy, and like the whole. So a good example of this is like Stranger Things, for example, is like basically an entire culture based on a TV show.
Yeah.
That is when I watch Stranger Things, I feel like I'm watching my own childhood and on TV. And I love it because it's like this nostalgic thing for me. But then I have like people that I used to work with that are like much younger than me, and they're like obsessed with it. But it's in this other way, and I'm like, I think it's funny that it's so appealing to people that they weren't even like a thought in the world yet when that show came out, or when it's set in that time. But it's like so. I'm glad it's still cool because I don't know.
I think it kind of says something about what technology is doing that we want to go back to that, like before, like when the cell phone was like this friggin' big, you know. And I gotta edit that out. Great. And you know, I forgot. Ugh, they can handle it. We have it so accessible now. I think people like watching shows where they have the cord landline, and you know they can go out and like come back when it's dark out type thing. Like,
oh my god,
we want to watch that. Like, we want that, and that's so funny that. Good for you. What better timing? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm like, cool. The fact that I'm like kind of old is like working.
no, no. It'll always be cool. I think.
It's kind of like how it's funny because like I used to be really in the '90s when I was a teenager. We were like so obsessed with the '70s.
Yeah.
The '70s are cool, but it's like I still know it's like a thing that wasn't mine. I don't know. And it's like, I'm just like, and then I think about like other decades that happened after. This is like totally not about art. So
no, it's okay. It's okay.
But I'm like, oh God, like 2010 was such a gross fashion time. Like that's gonna come back and be cool. I can't believe it.
In like 10 years.
That's cool in the future, and that blows my mind. But I said the same thing about like early 2000s, and those are like cool again. So I don't know.
Mom jeans is the ultimate.
Cool.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay. So let me remember my questions. So we've answered a lot of them. Your hours, I bet those are very different than, like, do they change? What are your hours like? Do you set your own? How does that work?
I am really bad at this. So apparently you're supposed to like set a schedule and keep to it like a normal 9 to 5. I don't do that at all because I don't know. It's cool because you can like work all night if you want to. I can do that. I do that sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
I think I think it's important to stick to a schedule and definitely not overwork yourself. Like in the beginning, I would just like work all day long. I would work for like 14 hours at a time.
Yeah.
And like it was gross, and I wasn't getting much sunlight. And then you just go crazy, and I don't know. That's not recommended, but yeah. So I think it's just important to like live. You got to keep your whatever time of day you do your best work. Like that's totally up to you, but just limit it, take breaks, and like make sure your mental health is okay because as much as you can like control that anyway. Because I think that's another thing that like takes out artists a lot. We spend a lot of time alone. And that's something that really is a huge struggle. It's kind of a lonely job sometimes. And yeah, if you just spend all your time alone, like in your own head, it's not great. So yeah, and also it just keeps you in like a professional mindset. to treat it like a job, not just like a hobby. Like I used to just like sit in bed and draw all the time. Like I would never sit in bed and draw now. Like that would make me feel so gross. Like I need to feel like I'm like at least pretending to go
like at work. Yeah. So do you have a studio? Do you work out where do you do most of your work?
I have a studio at my house, which is awesome, and I'm very lucky. But I also, anytime I need to do like website stuff or like corresponding with like clients or stuff, I always try to get out of my house and go to a coffee shop, just to like be around other people.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm an introvert, and I like could do this alone all the time. But even then, I start getting like really weird. But yeah, I have a studio at home. If I didn't have a studio at home, I would definitely like get one in a space that's open, and I would see other people. I don't think I'd want to like have one in like a barn in the middle of nowhere. Although that might be some people's cup of tea, but it's really important.
Right. No, I love how much what's coming out is know yourself in this field. Like really be introspective and know those things because it can make or break. Like, you know what I mean? You've had to like adapt some of those things over time and learn it through mistakes, but
yeah,
I get it.
It's totally like you have to manage so much more than you think you do. I mean, it's so fun, you know. I like my life. I'm so grateful for the way that my day plays out, but I have to like manage myself. I can't like sit down and watch TV in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Very tempting. Yeah, you have to have a lot of like, I don't know, self-control.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And this is like a weird time to be having this conversation because honestly, I didn't realize until like this last week how little self-control I have, even though I think I do. I like definitely have work hours, but I also leave the house all the time and just go like find reasons to spend money and like distract myself from my work. And it's like, it's really tempting, and it's like, I don't know. It's kind of, it's a weird job. It's like a constant like tap into your brain and like let that come out of you all day long. Sometimes I wish I had like a mindless job where I could just like type, like input data into something and I didn't have to think all the time, because like creating constantly is really, really hard sometimes. But then you get to like take your free time and do stuff that makes you happy. Like it's also really important to like go to museums, support other artists, make sure you're also like dumping more inspiration into you as it goes out of you, or you're just gonna be so drained. Like
I love that. It's
like that's like a huge one, and I like learn this lesson and then I like fail at it. And I'm like, when am I gonna figure this out and like not do this anymore? But I do this all the time. I get burnt out. I'll just like be in this creative hole, and I won't leave my house for like 2 weeks straight, and I make all this work, and then I'm like, I am empty, and I have nothing to give. I have no more ideas, and then I get really depressed because I'm like, well, now I'm not an artist. I have nothing else to say. So, to make sure that doesn't happen, you have to constantly be like
balancing
like,
it,
feeding your brain, and like listening to music that inspires you, and going to museums or doing whatever, going to see whatever like fills that part of you. For me, it's music and other artists, but I don't know. It's a lot of work. It's like constant like managing your input, your output, your energy. It's a lot.
And it's a lot more than just creating the art, like you said. It's speaking with clients, going back and forth, organizing the different jobs you have going on at the same time, and all that, and following up and delivery, blah blah blah. So that's really cool. So you already kind of talked about what you love about your job, but what would you say is your favorite part of what you do?
My favorite? Oh God, I'm gonna probably get like emotional.
Oh, do you want to start with your least favorite part?
No. No, I love this. My favorite part is that, well, for one, this is like what I feel like I was born to do. So that like fulfilling feeling is like something that I just couldn't find anywhere else. So that is just like second to none. The other favorite part is I get to meet really amazing people, and I'm really, really grateful for social media because I've met so many amazing, like, brilliant geniuses through this. I have like such an awesome network, and I love all the people I get to talk to and work with all the time. Um, and just like the like as a little kid, or even like when I was like in my 20s, like I think an artist's brain is like such a weird place, and having the ability to like take all this weird, like the weird place that your brain lives in, and like the weird like thoughts that you have, and like turn that into like a tangible reality, and then like make that your job is like, I still can't believe that's like a thing I get to do. I'm like, it blows my mind. Like I'm inspired by everything I see. I'll like walk around and like, I went into the woods the other day. I was like looking at the moss on a tree, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, and like then like a million different ideas came to my brain. I'm like, I get to go home and make something out of that. That's crazy.
Instead of like, when will I have time after my office job to make that idea? Like that is your whole life, and you have to keep constantly walking in the woods, getting inspired, making sure you have that like those ideas coming in.
Permission to be a weirdo, because you sort of need to be a weirdo to like make it work, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So it's like cool. I can like
it's like cool.
I don't have to like quiet down this part of my personality, because it's like kind of strange. Like I get to like be that person.
Oh yeah.
That makes me a good artist.
Yeah, totally.
So that's cool. And I see it with like when I work with kids, sometimes I do like, I'll always be able to pick out the one I'm like, it's always like someone I'm like, oh man, that was totally me, or like,
yeah, that's the artist.
Like I'm just like, I see it in other kids sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I hope they don't like let society tell them they're too weird, because like I can already tell that that little spark inside them is going to be what like makes them like kill it in the future. But there's a lot of like weird stuff in life that just like tells you to be boring and do whatever. So I don't know. Now I don't have to, so that's cool.
That's cool. My favorite part. Okay, so I love that. So what's your least favorite part or parts of your job?
Oh God. Dealing with money is awful. It's the worst. It's like a constant.
Like doing your taxes and stuff?
Well, oh my God, that's like a whole other nightmare. Yeah. I would, like, if this is like a advice forum, like, just like, let someone else do your taxes.
Yep.
I can't. But anyway, and no, like what to charge, like attaching self-worth to you. It's like it would be so nice if everybody got to like have like a manager that was like built in that could like make these decisions for you, because you never value yourself as much as you should. Like, I mean, I've met like 2 people ever that like are probably charging what they're worth. Like, I think everybody needs to charge like 25% more. I can say that pretty confidently without seeing anyone's work, because I know that that's what we do. We like, so that like internal struggle and constantly trying to like do that, be nice, make like, I don't know, like making this a job is a really weird mindset to get into, because you do love what you're doing, and it's like, it does feel kind of weird to make a lot of money at something that you would do for free because you're happy doing it, but like everybody needs to pay the bills, and that's like a struggle that I still I don't even know if it'll ever go away. But that's the hardest part for me. It's like making it a job on the money level. And the taxes. So just save your receipts. Give it to somebody else.
Yeah, it's just those annoying little things of dealing with, because you deal with humans, so of course there's going to be errors, you know what I mean, and things that bother you. Just talking to humans all day. So you've already given a bunch of advice, but anything else to add to someone? Anything you haven't said that you'd...
Oh my God. Let me see. Like, don't take anything personally. I know that's like impossible,
right?
But you can't. When you're doing art, you're like, it's like from your soul. So if you let people like I don't know, there has to be, you have to have a boundary. I would say like, I didn't have boundaries in the beginning, where like I would just let people walk all over me and tell me what they wanted me to do, and like kind of dictate everything to me. But the reality is like, this is your vision, and this is a talent you're born with. A talent you're born with is really valuable. So you get to call the shots. And if someone doesn't like it, there's like a million other artists out there trying to make it.
Yeah.
They can do their research and find somebody else.
Right.
And there's no lack of work. Like, it gets really scary. It's a really faith-based job. You have to always kind of like have faith that everything's going to work out, which is like impossible also, because sometimes you're just like, you don't have any money, and how do you feel? How do you like tell yourself in that moment that everything's going to work out? But if you just like be true to yourself and don't like stray from your own vision, I think it really does though. Like, someone always comes through in the end. Like, I've never had I've had actually less. I've had more like financial instability as like a bartender than I have as an artist, which is kind of, I never even noticed that till I just said it out loud. But it's true. Like, someone always comes in at the last minute and like makes it okay, and I don't know how that happens, but I think it's because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So
that's how you know to keep going, because it gives you that feeling. And if you've got that idea that just won't go away, you know what I mean? Like, just do it. Just do it. Just give it your all, because like it's weird. It's like you have that inner purpose or something, which is.
I also think like if you want to be an artist, you probably already have like some weird like calling to do that, because it's not like being a lawyer. Like, it's definitely not like a guarantee. It's not. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's not like you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a doctor and make a ton of money. I'm gonna be a lawyer and I'll always be set. Like, you could be broke as hell as an artist. It's not like as glamorous as it sounds. But if you just can't shake that need, then like, you gotta do it, because it'll never go away.
If you have to make art, you know, it's your passion, like you feel compelled to do it. You got to do those things. I totally think. And that's what gives people the spark in your eye you were talking about. Like, I can't draw them. I haven't met them. Like,
oh yeah, no. I mean, and if you're one of those artists, then that's awesome. Then you'll always have money. If you can like portraits of people, couples always want portraits. If you can do that kind of stuff, like, you're gonna be golden. You're like, I'm in like the weird camp where I just like, it sucks.
No.
Sometimes it sucks. Like, I'm just like, let me do my thing. You don't understand, but you know, they always like,
Molly.
It always somehow works out. So I don't know. It's really not that comforting to hear that, but it's true. So I don't know.
No, hey, that's good. That's good. I'm sure someone needs to hear this, so that'll be great. And that's all I have. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh my god, of course.
Sorry it went over a little bit.
I didn't notice.
Okay. It was like 20 minutes over.
I like ramble so much. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Do you need anything else? And then I'll just send you